News for New York presents Positively Black.
Now, despite what party and what issues are discussed and even change in politics, one thing largely remains the same. It's a field overwhelmingly dominated by men, but that could change. To date, the group VoteRunLead has trained more than 33,000 women to run for office from all walks of life. 60% of their alums are women of color, and a large number of those trainees go on to run for office, and yes, they win. Naila Amaru is an advocacy and policy strategist, as well as an alum of the VoteRunLead program, and someone who has been in on this program from jump, as we like to say. What drew you to the program initially?
What drew me to the program initially was this was an organization that created a space for women at all spaces in our journey. Those of us who were for sure interested in running for office, and those of us who knew we wanted to grow into our leadership but weren't quite sure yet what exactly that looked like. Right. And so what drew me into this program is that it was a space for all of us to come together and to connect and learn how to run campaigns and learn how to be the candidate.
Now, this wasn't your background, though. Where did you come to VoteRunLead from?
This was absolutely not my background. I had no interest in necessarily running for office. My background, I was in a space of transition. I had just left my service in the Army. I was stationed overseas in Germany and had come home from my tour in Iraq. And I was in a place where I was enrolled as a college student at the time, just trying to figure out what does public service look like to me at this point, and how do I grow into that, and what tools and resources do I need to really step into that.
Now, I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people are saying, how can you grow into public service? How does this program really get you ready for something like that? Because now you're a policy strategist, so what tools did they give you?
So I think some of the most important tools that they provided me with was, number one, reframing my understanding of what leadership looked like. You know, and so for me, you know, as a woman of color stepping into very male-dominated spaces, you know, my understanding of leadership was that there was no one who looked like me, and so it was a mental reframing of I am a leader, and I have the tools and the skill sets and experiences that make me that.
And so, something to bring to the table as a woman.
Absolutely. Our lived experiences are rooted in such a unique perspective, and that's very much missing from policy conversations. It's what's missing from government, right? And so when we have a government that does not reflect a majority of the constituency, then what we have is a missing perspective, and that's a tremendous loss of value.
Now, we saw you on a major stage. We ran some of that video of you at the Democratic National Convention where Hillary Clinton was nominated. I mean, do you feel parts of the program really prepared you for that stage? That was a big moment.
It was.
You're still smiling about it.
It was indeed a really big moment, and I think that VoteRunLead, without question, helped prepare me for that space of, you know, someone like me with my background and my story, just an everyday person who's passionate about just trying to build community. You know, there's a space for me in whatever room I occupy, right? And that begins with understanding that begins with me. It's that change in mentality that someone like me, you know, who is not a big name politician, who's not necessarily, a highlight Democratic luminary, but there's space for me on the national stage. There's space for me in every room, and that began again with a change in how I understood myself and how I chose to look at myself.
Now, we should point out that VoteRunLead, not a political party that's affiliated with it. It's nonpartisan, but they're training thousands of women. And now that you have been trained, well, we see Naila Amaru on a national stage politically.
It is true that VoteRunLead is nonpartisan. We train women across the political spectrum because, again, this is about changing American democracy and the face of it. As for myself, I have learned that life unfolds in really crazy, unbeautiful, unpredictable ways. So I can neither conform nor deny. But I remain open to see what the future holds for me.
And we will be watching. Naila, thank you for being here talking about VoteRunLead.
Thank you so much for having me.